Hello. You guys will never believe what we just did. Noah and I, got in the car and drove 4.5 hours, and we are in Valhalla, New York. It's been a very rough week in America. A lot of tears, but we are going to try to carry on and bring you some awesome content. We've been really excited about this. I told you that this month was going to be action-packed. We are just outside the city. Noah and I are going to be staying 2 nights in the area. This is going to be an amazing vlog full of adventure, history, stories, and I'm standing right now in the Sharon Gardens Cemetery in Valhalla, New York, just outside of White Plains. And a lot of famous people are buried here. We're just feet from the grave of Ayn Rand, and Lou Gehrig is nearby. Babe Ruth is just up the road in another section. There's like 4 different cemeteries that make up this whole area. We are in the Sharon Gardens Cemetery, and there's a lot of famous people here, but the graves that I am looking forward to seeing the most, that we are trying to find, are those of my grandparents. I haven't been here in a very long time, since I was a teenager when my dad brought me, and at that time my grandma was actually still alive. So I've never been to my grandmother's grave. We were very close in Florida, but they did bring her body back here to be buried next to my grandfather. These are my father's parents, and we are looking for them. We're going to be talking about a lot of great Americans. In that spirit, I dedicate this vlog to the memory of Charlie Kirk. Okay, my first coordinates are wrong, so we found some on Find a Grave with the help of Ancestry, and I think we're on the right path now. You guys are going to get to know me a little bit more in this trip, I think. This is going to be kind of personal, like I said, kind of a Great Americans tour, starting with my very own. My grandma, like I said, she was quite the whippersnapper. I actually just said, this is taking us round about Jerusalem. If you know, you know why that's funny. Her grave actually says, this beautiful woman had moxie, so loved, so missed. And then her name and beloved wife, mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother. Noah, do you know what made her great-grandmother? You. And then my grandfather has Hebrew writing, and he was deeply religious. My grandmother, not as much, but when she married him, she agreed to go along with it. They were very much in love, and my grandmother was this beautiful flapper. There's stories. When I talked a few years ago to extended family and second cousins, I guess my grandma was legendary for being beautiful and a really great dancer, and very funny and vivacious, and just really, really beautiful, she was known as. And my grandpa was just smitten with her, so they made it all work out. And my grandfather, he was the youngest person to pass the bar in the state of New York at the time. He was just a teenager. He was like the legal Doogie Howser of the day. So he was the youngest lawyer in the state of New York at one point, and broke all kinds of records. My father followed in his footsteps. They were both business attorneys for large corporations. My dad was a hero of mine for many reasons, but one of them is also because he chose a hard path in his career when the large corporation he was working for was stealing money from the federal government, and he became a whistleblower. And I know every time I visit a cemetery, these people are not here. These are their shells that are laid to rest. I totally understand that, but it's about, again, like I always say, paying respects, thinking about when they were buried, what was going on at that time, and just sometimes it's the last remnants of what we have. I do have many incredible pictures of them, and you know what, I'll insert a photo of my family now. Yeah, they were wonderful, beautiful people, and I've heard so many stories throughout the years, and it's funny, again, because like I travel the world and I talk about people from the past that I admire, and I thought, what a good way to start this amazing weekend we're going to have together, you know, by visiting my very own personal heroes. Of course, we're in a different section of the cemetery now. Actually, I think it's a different cemetery altogether. Yeah, it is. There are some crazy tombs and headstones here. seeing the grave of Ayn Rand and her husband, Frank O'Connor. Was a big mover and shaker in the movement of free thinking, and he was a fan of very small government, keeping it as small as possible so that people would not be oppressed. And she was a American Jewish lady, and her husband obviously is a very Irish name. And yes, this is the Kienesko Cemetery, marker number 17, as part of the historic tour. Somewhere there is a visitor center where you can get a map. We hadn't figured that out. I mean, we literally just drove over 4.5 hours in the car, didn't stop at all, got here and started doing this, so bear with us. It's a beautiful day, and you can just see how hilly and green and absolutely beautiful and peaceful. This place is so well manicured. I think that if I lived here, I would come and just walk. Pretty excited later on. Not sure if we're going to get to it tonight or maybe tomorrow, to take you to my favorite cemetery in maybe all the world. That is the Sleepy Hollow Cemetery in Sleepy Hollow / Tarrytown, New York. Site of the story, the legend of Sleepy Hollow, final resting place to one of my literary heroes, patriot heroes, author Washington Irving, with an amazing story of his own. And all of the characters from the legends of Sleepy Hollow were real people, and they are buried in that cemetery. So we are going to have such an amazing time. We're going to be visiting museums in the city. We're actually going to be driving into Manhattan. How brave am I? Getting out some food. Oh, I've been looking forward to this so much. It's nice to be back in home territory where I can say loud and proud that yes, indeed, I am a fan of the Bronx Bombers, the New York Yankees. My dad, my grandpa, my great uncle, they wouldn't have it any other way. Do love my Sox when I'm at home, but overall, Yankees faithful. And here is the final resting place of Lou Gehrig, who sadly passed away at the age of 38 of ALS. Sometimes people now actually refer to it, I'm sure you've heard it, as Lou Gehrig's disease. Hate to think that people just relate him with such a terrible, debilitating illness that is always fatal, because he was so much more than that. And you can see here people obviously leave bats and baseballs. He was one of the greatest ball players of all time. And he was born in New York City in 1905, so a hometown boy. We remember Lou Gehrig, along with the others. Another great American. And check out the view from up here. This is glorious. New York is absolutely a beautiful state. It really is. This place is just absolutely amazing. I've been to a lot of cemeteries. I can't believe I'm just now really discovering this. Better than Ronald McDonald on the Wall? Yes. In Manchester? Poor McDonald in the Wall in Manchester. Actually, that mausoleum in Manchester is kind of nice. But this is really beautiful. So well manicured. I hope it's coming across. Okay, here is the final resting place and memorial to Florence Ziegfeld. And if you guys are not familiar with the Ziegfeld Follies, I kind of grew up watching theatrical versions of it and hearing stories, because again, this is all very culturally New York stuff of the era of my dad and grandparents. And my grandma, the flapper, definitely a fan of things like Ziegfeld Follies. They were huge theatrical productions in the city with amazing elaborate costumes and sets. Very much a part of the sort of Art Deco avant-garde stage era, and a huge part of Americana. His wife was none other than actress, the beauty, I mean, she was absolutely gorgeous, Billie Burke Ziegfeld. You will know her as the Good Witch on The Wizard of Oz. "Are you a good witch or a bad witch?" And Dorothy says, "Well, I'm not a witch at all." That is her. She was absolutely beautiful, and I think even just that one iconic role really captured the imaginations of countless Americans and will continue to do so. So amazing. And she was the wife of Florence Ziegfeld. I don't know if a lot of people realize that. And she, of course, starred in the Ziegfeld Follies as well. She was a huge talent. But I think most people know her from filling that iconic role as Glinda on The Wizard of Oz. So Florence Ziegfeld, another big contributor, and I would say great American. An innovator, really. An artistic innovator. Amazing to be here. Yeah, I definitely don't remember all of this. I think that when my dad brought me, because we went to several graves throughout New York, those of great-grandparents as well, and I think we were just kind of visiting those. That was an epic vacation my dad took my sister and I on, my younger sister, and we kind of got to see all his old haunts, his favorite delis, family lands. My aunt was still living in the home that my grandfather had built. After the city, they moved out to Scarsdale nearby, which is an absolutely beautiful suburb. But I think it was really just kind of like a reunion tour type of getting to know you, as far as my dad wanting to show us his childhood type of things. So I don't think we did all of this. I would have remembered. What can you buy today for 24 bucks? Not much, right? Well, in 1626, then colonial Dutch governor Peter Minuit bought this land from the Lenape Indian tribe for goods, totaling a value of $24. Welcome to New Amsterdam. You see right between the bridge there? That is New York City and the island of Manhattan. Somewhere over there is the borough of the Bronx, along with the rest of the boroughs where my father grew up. We are in Tarrytown, New York. Tarrytown, Irvington, Sleeping Hollow make up this gorgeous area in the Hudson River Valley area, the base of the Hudson River Valley area, I should say. Here we are along the beautiful Hudson River on a sunset night. New York, of course, was originally part of New Netherland. This Dutch colony was founded after Henry Hudson explored the area in 1609. He had sailed up this very same Hudson River right here. The Dutch colony was founded after he explored the area. And check out this crazy sunset along the Hudson. And tomorrow we will be going further down into Manhattan. Right now, enjoying the outskirts. And our hotel is awesome. It was like 10 minutes to get to this point, 4 to 5 minutes from the cemeteries we were at earlier. Okay, room tour. This is a brand new Holiday Inn Express. Fancy. Hey, listen, I like Holiday Inn Express and other chains like that because you kind of know what you're getting, but this is a suite. It's really nice. Perfect for me and Noah and a mommy-son adventure. And 20 minutes from a lot of other major stops. Got some really big, exciting plans. We're going to be taking it all in. There's some things I really have been looking forward to showing you guys. Bridge here, the name changed a couple years ago. It's now called the Mario Cuomo Bridge, but I think a lot of us prefer to call it by its old name, the Tappan Zee. You have the town of Tappan, New York, across the way, very historic. So we talked last week about Benedict Arnold and his betrayal, and I briefly mentioned Jean-Andre, who was part of the reason that we found out that Benedict Arnold was going to hand over West Point to the British and betray Washington and the rest of us. Do you really think that's it, Noah?
I think it is.
You think it's the Statue of Liberty?
Might be. It's far.
It's far, but that might be. I see what you're saying. Can you guys see that? So when, and we'll talk more detail about this later, but when John Andre was discovered, he was over here, and they detained him over there in Tappan, and the tavern house where they kept him until his hanging, which we will go to that spot as well. Probably tomorrow we'll do all this stuff. Is right here in town. So a lot of Revolutionary War history. Really a lot of everything history. There is the Sleepy Hollow Lighthouse back there in the distance, if you guys can see it. So it is the month of Arnold, and we will be talking about him and his betrayal, taking you to sites weird dog alert, where these things went down. But right now I think we are going to find some food. But yeah, this whole area so full of treasures and historic sites, and we will be discussing, laying out the timeline, and walking through it as we go. We found this restaurant that had good reviews called Bridgeview Tavern, and will you check out the sunset happening over the Hudson River tonight. Absolutely awesome. Here is a hint of things to come. We are actually waiting for a table at that restaurant and thought we would walk around. We found this giant, crazy gourmet grocery store that looks pretty amazing, so we're gonna check it out while we're waiting. This is like a super nice grocery store. Beetlejuice and Lydia, Jack and Sally, Wednesday. This is crazy. It's 1010, the nicest grocery store I've ever seen. What the heck? And they go crazy. I wonder what this looks like for Christmas. Wowzers. Gosh, look at this, guys. Don't we have the Ichabod Crane?
No, we don't.
How do we not?
Came out recently.
What? This is honestly cool. There's some stuff in this to play I don't like. That's too gory or not my thing, but this is cool. Snow globe and the big pop figure. That is so cool. I am 100% buying this book and reading it tonight. It's the classic. I love Wind in the Willows, Mr. Toad, and Sleepy Hollow. Fish and chips, and you guys missed it. Noah got lemon in his eye when he was squeezing it, and I'm a mean mommy who's laughing at him. And I got sweet potato fries with cranberry mayo dipping sauce and a grilled chicken and cheddar cheese sandwich. Very excited to eat. Okay, that was extremely delicious. Like one of the best meals we've had in a while. Noah loved his fish and chips. My sandwich was good, and that cranberry mayo with the sweet potato fries, made in house, super good. So if you are in the Irvington, Sleepy Hollow, Terrytown area, Bridgeview Tavern, definitely suggest. It's hard to know when you're traveling, you know, where to go and stuff, and certainly is easier now with Google reviews and stuff like that, but you still never really know. But that was really good. Look at the bridge all lit up over the Hudson River. I still can't believe we're here. It's surreal. I mean, on one hand, you know, it's 4.5 hours. On the other hand, it's 4.5 hours. It's close enough that I can do this, and it's really awesome. We're going back over to DeSico and Sons grocery store because I was not done looking. It seems like it's more than a grocery store. Like they've got some cool treats. Gonna see if they have anything local and fun that I want to bring home, and take another look at that Sleepy Hollow themed merchandise. It's like a nicer, more boutique version of Wegmans and kind of Whole Foods, but like I like this even more. It's like Noah's dream come true. He gasped. And a giant Italian rainbow cookie cake. Oh my gosh. I don't think that Noah and I could eat that alone. We would be very... I know, everything is perfectly organized and stacked and clean, and like there's no weirdness. Like I wish every grocery store had this attention to detail. And I fully recognize that this is that history chick, and this really has nothing to do with history, but as you guys know if you've been watching me, sometimes we go on adventures searching for history, and I kind of tell the whole story, and travel is a big part of it. So I just thought this was kind of fun, and that you guys might like to know about this, and I, you know, just bring you guys along for the adventure, whatever that adventure is. So Hope you guys are enjoying this. I'm telling you guys, this is a lot more than a grocery store. Look at this. This is an actual screen used costume from The Legend of Sleepy Hollow TV series as worn by actor Neil Jackson. Look at this. That is crazy. That movie's also heavy on the spoopy weirdness, but I appreciate the visuals. I mean, it's Tim Burton, so it's gonna be weird. There's some parts I actually fast forward. I haven't seen it in a really long time. It's a little heavy on the scare stuff for me, but that is so cool that that's in here. That's crazy. In a grocery store, you guys. Let me remind you. But this isn't a regular grocery store. This is a grocery store in Sleepy Hollow, New York. So they do things just a little bit differently. And I am super dizzy up here because of the open space and the railing. But it looks like they have stills and art and images from different incantations of The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. Whoa, I am so dizzy. I'm having a vertigo issue right now, so that's not fun. Is that I have a headache, so I'm already feeling a little off kilter, but hopefully you guys got a glimpse of it from what Noah just showed you. The signage says this actually just opened this year, so it is a newer store. And look at, there is the flag flying at half staff. So that is really at the heart of what we do here. We're gonna go back to our hotel now, relax, enjoy our treats, and put our feet up. We have so much ahead this weekend. I hope you guys will join us and enjoy the series of videos from beautiful New York. I am that history chick, and like Patrick Henry, of course, I know of no way of judging the future, but by the past. And that is what drives me. Thank you so much for watching. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. I'm also on Instagram at _historychick. On Facebook at That History Chick, and right here on YouTube at That History Chick with more exciting content from early America, pop culture, travel. If it's history, I'm there for it and I love it. Wanted to show you guys this. Check out this view from this cute little park here. I'm good as long as I don't see a Hudson River wharf rat. Actually, I think it's the city rats that you gotta... We are in New York, you guys. Walk out on this pier here and see if we can see the city lights. Another shot from this angle. That is the New York skyline, you guys. Been a couple years since I've been here. Yeah, 2 years. Kay and I stopped. We made a road trip. It's too bad I wasn't vlogging then, because we drove all the way to North Carolina to my cousin's wedding, which is a beautiful wedding. And on the way back, we took like a week and stopped at historic sites and visited places. And we came here and had a really good time. And we've been here several times. I've been to Sleepy Hollow Tarrytown quite a bit because it's one of my faves, but haven't been back in 2.5 years, and Noah hasn't been since he was little, and that was really just kind of driving through, so he's excited and happy to be here and enjoying this time, as I hope you guys are. Alright guys, I'm a completionist. I came even further down. This is what I was looking for. Kay and I discovered this when we were here one time. We are in Irvington, New York, and there is a closer look. It's a beautiful night. If you guys see in the distance there, the flashing red light, I don't know if it's coming up on here, but that's actually the Empire State Building. Check this out, you guys. Here is a 9/11 memorial with the city in the background where the towers would have stood right here along the Hudson. Absolutely beautiful. Of course, we just had the anniversary. The Legend of Sleepy Hollow by Washington Irving, the Disney version. Long ago, a new schoolteacher arrived in the small town of Sleepy Hollow. He was tall and thin like a scarecrow with a small head and a pointy nose. Sounds devilishly attractive. His name was Ichabod Crane. Ichabod was a strict teacher. Some people liked him, others, like Brom Bones, thought he was strange. Brom enjoyed playing tricks on Ichabod, but Ichabod never seemed to mind. Ichabod was soon invited to a Halloween party. He dressed in his nicest clothes. At the party, Ichabod ate and danced and laughed, charming everyone around him. It was a perfect night, until the host of the party called for the guests to tell scary stories. Ichabod did not like scary stories. Brom Bones went first. He was jealous of Ichabod because everyone liked him. Brom hoped his tale would frighten the schoolteacher so much that he would leave Sleepy Hollow forever. His story was about the Headless Horseman, a character who had a flaming pumpkin for a head. Every Halloween night, the ghost would ride through town looking for someone to trade heads with. He would try to catch any stranger he found in the woods, but he could not cross the covered bridge at the end of town. As Brom told his story, poor Ichabod grew very afraid. He was shaking right down to his boots. Although Ichabod knew the ghost wasn't real, the woods felt dark and scary as he traveled home later that night. The tree branches looked like hands reaching out to grab him. Ooh. The crickets sounded like they were calling his name. The croaking frogs seemed to be saying, "Headless Horseman! Headless Horseman!" We heard a lot of crickets and frogs out there tonight. Hopefully that's not what they were saying. Frightened Ichabod urged his horse to run. They raced blindly through the dark until they reached a clearing. After they'd stopped to rest, they still heard hoofbeats. Something was coming for them. Ta-tum, 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 ta-tum. When Ichabod realized the sound was just some reeds banging on a hollow tree trunk, he and the horse laughed. They felt silly. They had imagined it was the Headless Horseman. But just when they were feeling safe, another laugh joined theirs. An evil laugh, an angry laugh, a ghostly laugh. It was the Headless Horseman. Ichabod and his horse jumped up and ran. The ghost followed them into the woods, down the riverbank, through the water, and across a field. They raced away from the Headless Horseman, but the ghost wanted Ichabod's head, and it wasn't going to stop until it reached him. Finally, Ichabod saw the bridge in the distance. He remembered that crossing the bridge meant safety, so he urged his horse to go faster. With a final burst of speed, they made it across. But the Headless Horseman was not done. The ghost heaved its flaming pumpkin head straight at Ichabod Crane. The next morning, only Ichabod's hat and a few pieces of pumpkins were found lying on the ground. The schoolteacher was never seen again. Some people say that Ichabod left Sleepy Hollow for good, finding happiness in another town. But others say the Headless Horseman took him away. What do you think happened? Well, maybe we'll find out more tomorrow. Of course, in the story, the Headless Horseman is actually, when you read in more detail, from Washington Irving's original short story. He is represented as a Hessian soldier, which were German soldiers for hire for the British military during the Revolutionary War, and they ravaged small villages like Sleepy Hollow, so it was smart that Washington Irving chose him as the sort of villain or creepy guy in the story, being that it would have creeped people out. And another interesting fact is a lot of the Hessian soldiers after the Revolutionary War actually chose to stay, and many of them stayed in New York State. So I think people's imaginations were running wild, but really the basic message of the Legend of Sleepy Hollow is not to be jealous, to have confidence, not shrink back, don't let your imagination run away with itself, don't be fearful, and, Those Hessians really were the bad guys for the British. Also, have a good horse.